try a do-over here. Okay, so I started this a second ago and I was doing a really crappy job at it because I'm not really good at these videos. I'm my own worst critic. I saw someone else can macaroni and cheese online. I didn't like the type of cheese that they use. We like Velveeta. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say the brand name, but I bought this Velveeta cheese sauce. She used just like a regular cheese sauce that was canned, that she recanned, and we just really like the taste of this. My grandson's crazy about Velveeta cheese sauce, and you can buy it without the macaroni and cheese kit. So I have some elbow macaroni, and you're going to use chicken broth and Velveeta cheese sauce, and you're going to put in equal amounts of the cheese sauce and the chicken broth, and you're going to stir them together. So this is 12 ounces per box, and I'm going to be doing 24 ounces. So that's how much chicken broth I'm going to put in. You're going to need that extra broth because you're putting your noodles in dry, and they're going to expand inside the jar and get a little bit bigger. So they're going to cook while they're in there versus being cooked before, because they would just turn to mush if we did that and then canned it. So that's why we're going to put them in dry and then can them. So I'm just going to pause this for a second, and so it's not a long video, and get this in here, and then I'll pour in the chicken broth, and I just use a store brand that I bought, and we'll stir that up, and I'll show you how I load the jars, and then we'll get them going in the canner. Okay, so I have the cheese sauce in there. You have to forgive me, I get a little short of breath. I had COVID last November, and it was really hard on me, so bear with me. So now I'm just going to add the chicken broth. I just bought store brand chicken broth in a can, and I'm going to add that. And like I said, you want to put that in your cheese because you need that extra fluid so that the noodles can soak some of that up. So we're just going to do that. And I'm going to give that a stir. And we use a pitcher. The other lady that actually I originally watched this video, she used a pitcher, and it was so easy. She poured it into the containers, and you want to stir it really good. It looked like it was just way easier to do that way. So I am copying her that way. She's amazing. Like I said, this isn't FDA approved, but she kind of has a saying that I love that's my kitchen, my rules. I'm just making a small batch of this just so that I can see how it turns out, and if I like it, if it tastes better with the Velveeta cheese sauce. I'm hoping that it does. So I'm going to pause again for a second and set up my jars, which have been boiled. Even though we're pressure canning, I always wash and boil all of my jars for 10 minutes. I boil my jars, sometimes 15. I know that's a little excessive, but it's a lot of work when you can. And to lose a jar of something because of bacteria, because you didn't properly sterilize them, is really disheartening. And I don't like to do that. So I did boil my jars, and I have my lids boiling, and I just turned them off, and they're sitting in hot water now. Some people don't do that even though they're pressure canning. I do, because I get a better seal with my lids if they're warm when I put them on my jar, whether I'm pressure canning or in water bath canning. People, there's a lot of arguments over that, will say that that's an unnecessary step. I disagree with that. Like I said, it's a lot of work to lose even one jar of something, so I don't like to do that. So stand by and let me pause and get this set up. Okay, so now we're going to add the macaroni to our jars. I'm only going to do 3 jars at a time because you do have to stir this or your noodles will stick together in the bottom of the jar. So you want to do each jar, stir it a little bit, and then you're going to put a lid on it, and then you're going to shake it before it goes in the canner just a little bit. So here's my first one. I have 1/3 cup of macaroni noodles, and these are half pint jars. So it's going to be about that full, but remember that's going to expand quite a bit. Get that. And then you're going to fill this till you have 1 inch headspace. But then you're going to stir it because it's macaroni and there's going to be air pockets inside your noodles, and you want to make sure that everything is debubbled. Kind of debubbling process here. Just to make sure you get that mixed in really good. And then we'll make sure we have enough, because it is going to go down just a little bit. And you want it to be just below 1 inch headspace. You don't want it to be quite 1 inch, but just below it, because like I said, the macaroni is going to expand in this and fill that jar to the top by the time that we're done. So that is about perfect, as you can see that. And it's stirred in really good. So let me pause again and get my lids going. So that one's ready. And then, like I said, just 1/3 cup level. Put it in the jar. We're only going to do 3 at a time, just because, like I said, it does start to stick fairly quickly. So you want to make sure you don't have too much of that going on so they're not stuck in the bottom of your jar. I'm not quite sure how much this is going to make. She did a little bit different process. Now, if you were going to can this as, if you were going to can this in pints, you would double the recipe. So it would be 2/3 cup of macaroni in a full pint jar. But like I said, we are doing half pint jars. And I accidentally threw my debubbler in the sink of dirty dishes. So let me get a spoon or a knife, whatever works, and sterilize it a little bit and stir this around. Like I said, I'm new to doing these videos. I just do them because I have friends, and that one's just a little bit full. I have friends that are always asking me how to can and how to can new things, and I actually just watch YouTube videos myself and learn how to do Rebel, things like that. My mother-in-law's taught me quite a bit. She is my go-to for canning. God love her. She is amazing. I don't know what I'd do without her. I call her sometimes in the middle of the night because I do a lot of late night canning because I'm not at work. So I start these projects in the evening. I don't believe I'm alone in that. I think there's quite a few people. And see, that one's kind of starting to stick a little bit. So let's get that one another little stir. But like I said, before it goes in the canner, we're going to give it a little bit of a shake. And you want it to be just under 1 inch headspace. So once I have that done, I'm going to wipe my rims with some vinegar on clean paper towel. I saw this one lady do a video, and God love her, she's very sterile, but I don't wear gloves. I wash my hands obsessively. I make sure all of my equipment is sterile, all of my surfaces before I start, because like I said, I don't like to lose a jar of anything. So that's where we go from there. And we're going to grab a lid out of my hot boiling water. Make sure that we don't touch the white. And I'll put 3 of them on to start. I'm doing more of these, but I'm just going to show you 3 because we don't need to drag this out a long time. Hate when people drag out these processes or tell their whole life story. Just get it done. Fingertip tight is that. These are your fingertips. You're turning it with your fingertips. You're not muscling that down. That would not be fingertip tight. But this, fingertip tight. So before they go in, like I said, you just give them a little shake. Make sure that macaroni's mixed around in there. Good. And I'll get the rest of them ready. We'll get them in the canner, and we're going to can these half pints at 10 pounds of pressure for 20 minutes. Okay, so now I'm just going to put these in the pressure canner. I'm going to let them vent for 10 minutes. And when that's done, we're going to put the weight on, and we're going to maintain the pressure at 10 pounds of pressure for 20 minutes. And I do have 8 half pints. And like I said, I did them in half pints. You want to make sure you give them that shake because it does starts to stick. And I'm taking my sweet time with this, and it's sticking a little bit. So I'm doing half pints because half pints is 1 serving, and I don't know how I'm going to like this with Velveeta. I don't know how the Velveeta is going to do in a pressure canner. So I didn't follow the other lady's recipe. I tried that. I didn't care for the flavor of that cheese. So that's why I'm trying it this way. Okay, so I want to show you what venting is. And I'm trying to get the right angle here. So this is your vent. And you see that steady stream of steam coming out of there? You want it to do that for 10 minutes. That is called venting. It's very important in the process because it gets your canner up to temperature. And I'm sorry, that was a horrible pause. It gets your canner up to temperature and it gets your stuff hot, and you want to kill all that bacteria in there, so that's what that's for. Okay, you can see that everything is done. It's sealed. It's out of the canner. I don't know if you can get a close-up of how that looks. I've opened a jar, and I'm going to try it because I hate when people do these videos and then they don't tell you how it tastes. So you got to kind of guess whether you're going to like it or not. So I'm going to show you the inside. I'm going to stir that just a little bit and see. I think if I was to do something different, I would use a little bit less noodles, maybe cut that back to 1/4 of a cup because I think this is an awful lot. But I'm going to go ahead and taste it. Let's see if I can. The cheese looks okay. It doesn't look too grainy. But we'll give it a try and see. It's really hot. It's excellent. That's it.